what if we actually put in some time for the average consumer? Because I'd say, honestly, just the stuff that comes through the shops that I'm involved with, even the guys that are out there making pretty big horsepower, I'd say under 3,000 or 2,500, those guys. Most of these guys claim that they want to be able to drive their stuff on the street. So that's 90% of what I see going around. Even when I travel and I'm at the racetrack or whatever like that, 90% of this stuff is for we call it street stuff or street and strip stuff. So I think it's really worth the investment of some of these companies to invest in it's not even really R&D, because all the stuff is already there. Just fucking make it. Like big block Chevy, there should be 1mm ring pack set that everybody should be able to get. There should be no more of that 564 shit. All big block Chevys and SB2s and Mopars and all the old classic engines, all them piston rings should be 1mm stuff, unless it's for restoration. Because all these old engines, man, the guys that in my circle that we actually put time into it, we're fucking up LSs. I'm just sorry. Like we're putting whoopings on them, and I could just imagine if I didn't have to fucking literally bust out the calculator every time I wanted to build an engine and math it the fuck out like Bill Nye. If I could just order a fucking a 4310 board with a 1mm, but I didn't have to do a custom order pack. Like it's basic stuff. Like I don't want to have. It shouldn't be that serious. And then for the street guys, I think it would make it so much more advantageous, because then you get the average person who really wants to enjoy a decent street car. I wouldn't even say a high horsepower, medium horsepower, talking about 500 to 700 horsepower build in their vehicle. They would love it because everybody's afraid of the gas mileage. And I can only imagine like what I don't have the guys that I build some of the motors for. They won't let me just take it and do some R&D like I would really like to. But some of these motors that I do with the custom pistons and then the super fine ring packs and all that stuff, what that does for the efficiency as far as miles per gallon and all that stuff in an actual street car, it's actually worth the time and the money to invest in. It'd be something worth looking at, because like a friend of mine, Chevelle, I think it gets 11 to 12 on a 468, if I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And I just wonder what that would do if we put like a factory stock motor in there, a really, really scienced out, not to the level of that. I'm just talking about the dimensions of things, because I know there's the extreme price gap as far as what goes into a motor of that caliber. I'm just talking about the dimensions of things. Like I said, a 1mm ring pack. You have the proper size valves for the big block on the street. A rolled valve angle head. What that would do. I believe that we could probably have some of these things getting into like the 15, 17 mile per gallon range. I don't think that's out of the question. Because I'm building motors in the range of average. I hate building a motor that doesn't make at minimum 1.2 horsepower per cubic inch at the minimum. Unless it's like a stock build, I'm not even gonna. I really don't want to take the job. And then 1.5, 1.7 horsepower per cube is easily attainable. It's really, for all the engine builders out there, you guys know what I'm talking about. Like that's attainable. That's not $1 million build. That's nothing. That we're talking about. If you're good and you do it enough like I do, you can do that with $10,000, man. It shouldn't be that difficult at all. So I would like to see the industry and guys thinking like that, because I know the dudes with the big names would be able to push the market like that. I'm a nobody, you know what I'm saying? I'm just really good at doing math, and I fucking follow the rules to the point of, you know what I'm saying, like of what the math tells me. You know what I'm saying? Basically, you're pretty almost 2 horsepower per CFM, or I've got that backwards. What is it? You split the CFM in half. So you have 300 CFM capable heads. You double it. No, 600 horsepower potential. Yeah, 2 horsepower per CFM. I think that's what it is. I'm over here mumbling and trying to drive at the same time. But I'm actually just I'm putting something out so I can really get into the practice of using up my time to actually put out videos, man. I know I got a lot to share, and there's a lot of guys, and I'm on at least on my channel, I'm also going to do things more along the DIY. You're not going to see me, hopefully I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time in the shop with all the fucking micrometers and stuff. I'm going to show you guys the way that it can be done, because in reality, a lot of people don't have access to the things that I have to. So it's to sit there and like pull your dick out in front of the public. I'm not into that shit. That's really the main reason why I don't really have a big presence as I should probably on the internet, because I'm not into that shit. Like something, because the stuff I can do is because of the connections I have, the people I do business with, and then the equipment that I have access to. So, but the stuff for myself, I don't do that, and I get almost the more best because I just take my time. My results speak for themselves. You know what I mean? I just take my time. I go over to my project. I know exactly what the fuck we're gonna use it for and what we're after, and then you build it as such, and it comes out amazing. Everything doesn't need to be fucking line bore honed and fucking it. That's trash. I'm in the business, and I'm telling you, it's not necessary, and it's not no money out of my pocket, because there's other things that I offer the customer that they can't go and get, like my knowledge. Like I can spec you out of Cam exactly for your one. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna take that from me. So I'm not hurting about if you. I don't need to sell you fucking 10. It doesn't need to cost that, because we're getting so many people that want to be in the industry, want to be a part of this culture, that I believe deserve to, and it shouldn't be a money game to the extent to where you price them out. You don't need to spend $10,000 on a stock 350. That's bullshit. You know what I mean? Oh, it's $5,500 to build a 300. No, get that crap out of here, man. You know that if the cylinders are decent, man, there's no fucking pits in them, there's no scores in there. Give them a dingle ball home and get them out. Get them in some shit. Get them in something nice, man. Don't fucking sit there and scare the fucking customer out of fucking, oh, you need to bore it and it's got to go 30 over just to line your pockets. I'm not about that shit, man. I'm going to give it to you straight up. Hey, man, we can do a nice quick little hone on this motherfucker just so we can seat the piston rings, and we're going to break it in nice, and you're going to be good to go. You're going to be happy. It's just not going to last any less than it's not going to do anything. Only thing I might recommend, depending on what you're actually going to do to it, you know what I'm saying, is balance it. We'll balance it, you know what I'm saying? Because I check everything, so it's not like I'm just sending somebody out there blind. If I got main boards that are out of round, I'm going to let you know that they're out of round, and then how to address that, and what's the best way to do that, the most cost-effective way. I'm not just going to scare you into a fucking $10,000 build so I can fucking make money off of that. Fuck that. So, with that being said, let's keep a lot of these people involved in this. I personally want to see everybody driving whatever the fuck it is that they enjoy driving, unless you own a Prius or a Tesla. I don't care about you. But other than that, man, V8's for everybody, in my humble opinion. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't need to cost $1 million, man. Everything doesn't need to make 1 million horsepower. We have stuff that it got turbos on it. We'll turn it all the way down to gate pressure and go scare the shit out of somebody with 450, and they swear it's a 1,000 horsepower motor. Oh my God, it's blah, blah, blah. But when you have something that's done right, and it hooks and it does what it's supposed to do, man, you get people hook, line, and sinker all day, man. Let your work speak for itself. You don't need to blow smoke up people's ass. That's why I like watching some of the shows I do, like Old Man Garage. I love watching Eric. I love watching Power Machine, because those guys keep it real. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna let you know, hey, this is gonna cost you $1 million, but we also offer this, and that's what I'm about. Like, yeah, I could build you something that's 1,500 horsepower, 2,000 horsepower. But I can tell, because I have the experience that I have, that that's not what you're actually looking for. You've just been around the wrong group of fucking idiots, and that's what you think you have to be able to enjoy your vehicle. And that's not the case. You probably need something around the 450 to 500 horsepower range that actually works with the proper torque converter and the right gear ratio, and you'll fall in love with your vehicle. Because I don't know how many customers I've had that come from so many other shops, and they get nickeled and dimed to death. Oh, well, now you need a rear end. And instead of fucking me like sending them to the rear end guy down the road, because it's money out of, you think it's money out of your pocket. And you know what I'm saying, go get some either better axles or a better ring and gear, you know what I'm saying, some Yukon ring and gears, and then it'll last behind that same 10-bolt axle, the 8.8. He doesn't need to go get a fucking 12-inch Pro Mod rear end. Stop that shit. Like, if he wants to grow, let it grow with his pockets as well. You know what I'm saying? The cars are built to be they should be built in stages. They should not, because then you get people who buy a car because it's something that they love or they got inherited or something along those lines, and they end up spending all this money because they think that's what's actually necessary to be able to enjoy this vehicle, and they're 30, 40 grand and have never even driven the vehicle. And then they get scared because life happens. Their wife is bitching at them. You spent all this fucking money. You never stepped foot. You never even had a chance to bond with the vehicle. You never had a chance to make any memories with this car yet. Get them some, hey man, we're not going to do that shit right now. We're going to put this fucking whatever motor in here. Get you some, even it's a Holley Sniper fuel injection in it so you can actually enjoy it. You ain't going to hate it because it doesn't start when it's cold. None of that shit. We're going to solve all those basic problems for you so you can go make memories in the vehicle, and then you're going to want to invest in the car. And then because of that, they're going to fall in love with you. I have so many customers that will refuse to go to anybody else. They don't care what deal you bring them. They won't fuck with nobody but me because I'm going to keep it real with you. Like, hey, you don't need that. That's not necessary at this stage in the game. It's not important. It's too easy to get there for you to worry about right now. Let's get this car straight. Let's get it safe and fairly efficient for where you're at financially to drive and to enjoy. And we can sit down and make a plan for you to get to where the end goal is. All the while still being able to drive the vehicle until it goes to paint job. I can't help you there. But other than that, you should be able to you don't need to wait until you have the QA1 suspension. That's so wrong. It's so wrong. I hate guys who do that. You don't need to do that. We're going to go get you a polyurethane energy suspension bushing kit so it handles a step above what it did stock. It's going to be safe and it's going to be reliable, and you're going to enjoy the vehicle. And I'm going to set you out there and go fall in love with your car. You don't need a 6-piston Willwood disc brake 14-inch carbon ceramic. You do not need that to drive your 500 horsepower car. I'm gonna get you a hydro boost. We're gonna put you a basic Jegs fucking disc brake conversion kit to the front and proportionate valve, and you're gonna be able to enjoy your car. And it's gonna stop, and you're gonna feel safe and comfortable in your vehicle. Let's bring that back. Let's bring some real shit. And for you guys who, if you don't know how to do that, if you don't know the stages of vehicle builds, if you can't assess the customer and what they're actually telling you, like, and what they're feeling, because most people, they think they want horsepower because that's all they talk about. If you're driving your vehicle on the street, you want to see you want torque, period. Because if that's the case, everybody would be saving their pennies and shit and buying Lamborghinis, which makes zero torque. But they're not doing that because that's not where the fun is. I don't want to have to be in 5th gear before I get a little, that adrenaline rush at 19,000 RPM. That's crap. Put me in my fucking LS or my big block car, and at 2,500, I can light the tires off on command without power braking it, and that's what customers want. I guarantee it. They want to feel that their head slamming to the fucking headrest and their girlfriend to fucking lose her shit and then watch the titties bounce in the passenger seat next to it. That's what the fuck they want. I promise you. You give them that, they'll be there. And then as they grow with the vehicle, they'll ask you for more power. It goes hand in hand. So, yeah, like I was going, if you don't know how to do that, just be honest, say you don't know how to do that. Like, hey, I'm not the guy to tell you where to go with your car. I just can only do X, Y, and Z. I'm no longer trying to be the guy who can do it all, but because of the experience I have, I know how a proper functioning car feels. And I know different ways to get there, because not only have I been at different financial levels, I've had friends with different things and they're at different financial levels. I had guys who got 1,000 horsepower motors and stock suspension. And I've seen guys with bought a decent car with some QA1s or some whatever suspension underneath it and a stock motor. So I've seen so many different levels and aspects of it together. And then you can get a picture of like, oh, okay, well that car handled halfway decent with just some regular rear control arm kit. It wasn't that. It actually was fairly sporty, and it was kind of solid feeling. Yeah, you don't need a freaking ladder bar setup or a Ford Link setup. You don't need that. Just case in point, if you look at Old Man Garage and that what do you call it, the Biscayne that he just put out there, you know what I'm saying? That thing is a rocket, and I bet you he doesn't have $1 million suspension underneath it. If you watch that clip of him when he leave the street, when he actually that thing hooked, that thing boogied. And if you guys can digest that in your minds and find a way to see that and offer that to your customers, it will reflect in your bank account. I promise. Once again, Morgan Crooms Racing Engines. Man, let's do this shit right, man. Give the people what they want. Anybody got questions? I'm there. 916-595-0420.